Hey guys, welcome back to Songs You Should Listen To. Today, you should listen to Sisters by Pain of Salvation. Pain of Salvation are a progressive metal band from, I forget which country, Northern Europe-ish. They're headed by Daniel Gildenlow, who is the lead singer, guitarist, and main writer. Daniel Gildenlow has an awesome voice that is also very polarizing. You'll hear what I mean when we start the song. Sisters is a song about a guy who is having a rough patch with his wife, and after a party, at the end of a party, he and his wife's sister getting a little bit too comfortable with one another. We'll just put it that way. It's not the kind of thing that I would want celebrated, but I think if you listen to this, I don't think it's a celebration at all, as a matter of fact. But let's take a listen. Already, with just piano and snare, we have the establishment of the theme, the na 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 na. So that's like the A part of the theme, and then the tail of the theme. So elegant and pretty, very poignant and somber. Na 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 na. Especially with that clear bell tone of the piano is just dolce. What a great theme. Na 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 as the second tail. Now let's listen to the vocals.
When all are dizzy and happy.
Yeah, see, I can see how that would immediately turn someone off. It's a really awkward vocal. But pay attention to the lyrics when he says that. When all are dizzy and happy from too much wine.
I leave the party behind.
When all are dizzy and happy from too much wine. Basically, his vocal emoting is setting up the state of mind where you've had a ton to drink, you've been drinking for a long time, it's at this point early in the morning, and people should be going to bed, but you're one of the stragglers at the end of the party. And he says he leaves the party behind. So now he and who we're about to be introduced to are going by themselves off somewhere else.
To walk alone with
To walk alone is the first part.
this cold night, but there she stands.
He accidentally bumps into who?
And she walks like you, and she smiles.
Almost like you. Sorry, I have to keep pausing. I'm trying to keep this from being DMCA'd. So we have the introduction of the second theme, the na 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 na, which is the Shrek theme. Which is a great development off of na 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 na, and also from where we were initially with our verse vocal theme. But yeah, if we're comparing the emotions of what's happening in this story against his vocal performance, which again can be kind of awkward, but actually makes sense in the state of mind in which someone would be as they're going through this process, it actually works incredibly well. This minimalist arrangement first works with just kind of being like barely there, because it's at the end of a party. You have all these thoughts in your head and you're just trying to like make sense of what's going on in your life. And then that dolce-ness really blooms and comes forth with this elegant melody and, again, the head voice that he's using right now to communicate the beauty that just unfolded in front of him. This almost pureness or innocence of what's in front of him, which is his wife's sister. And there's almost a reminiscence because it reminds him of his wife.
A child of the wild, just like
You, a child of the wild, just like you. Really, really great melody writing here.
just like you.
Then right at the end, as like a response from the piano, it gives you a little hook, a little guy, a little phrase at the end to tie a bow on the end of this whole journey we just took from verse to, I believe that is pre-chorus. Then right after that, just that little, yeah, like this super doesn't want to admit it to himself, but almost kind of sensual, carnal, like, yeah, you know what? The bad thing, I do want to do the bad thing. It gives you chills. All right, now we've raised up the arrangement by bringing in a cello, way low cello. Now we're having some cymbals going on the drum kit, which, by the way, this whole album has like next to no compression on it. It basically sounds like drums in a room. Like when you hear that snare, that is not a very super processed snare. But because of that, when you start hitting all of these different instruments, it gives you so much more dynamic range, which we're also going to hear, especially on the guitar. There is so much dynamic range on the guitar. Not a very normal thing for modern production, especially for rock and hard rock. Not a thing at all in metal. Now we're back to that main theme, and he's just giving us a little bit of this like emotional ha ha, you know, type of deal going on. Raising the emotional stakes. And then the next verse.
For a second.
Now, instead of it just being drums and piano, there's a little bit of guitar over here in the right channel. Pay attention. It's like a about that pitch.
I think I get a glimpse.
Ooh, never mind. He's over here in the left channel. It's mostly like a mood, texture, saturation kind of deal, as opposed to being a straight up guitar part to where he's trying to be the star. And it reveals itself when you hear the string slides.
The real.
There it is, the dung dung. Now you got that real stratty single coil guy coming through. It's actually very dark for a single coil tone. It sounds almost like the strings are dead or something. And man, I gotta give them full props for not leaning hard into trying to be the newest and greatest thing in the sonic space, and actually trying to be like, you know what? Instead of trying to push way forward and compete with all that crap, we're gonna pull it way back. We're going to take this very classic production style and sound design, and we are going to elevate it in a way that hasn't been done before. And I think the whole album is a testament to that. They did such a fabulous job with this arrangement and production. And it's incredibly raw. It is super duper raw.
She's warm and fragile.
You can hear it in his voice. Again, you can think it's goofy or dorky or whatever. If you're a fan of music theater, it'll be less of a thing. Think about this. Imagine him as like Phantom of the Opera. That would kind of make the emoting of the voice make more sense. I think the way that he's singing it perfectly hits the hyper melodramatic romantic emotions of what's going on here.
A change so
Now we're coming up, crescendoing. Okay, there is where you can hear more dynamic in the guitar. That dong, when he hits that note, actually is louder because he hit it harder, which again, when you're working with hard rock or metal, very rarely happens. And then we have this coming in, again, the rise of stakes with the background vocals. Ah. Listen to that. Okay, there we go. That's the theme, the main theme from the intro. If she'd look me deep into my eyes. And softly ask me to, but he also does it with a softer voice. And softly ask me to. You know, almost like he would fall apart if she invited him to ... We know what the implication is, and he's about to be very explicit on what the implication is.
I'd be in her bed and in her flesh.
Yeah, it's like he is indulging in her in his mind. And again, and last line here.
and waste a life I knew.
He acknowledges that this is a bad decision. If I'm doing this, this changes everything, and waste the life that I knew. All of this that I did with like my career and my wife and maybe a family, who knows, over. It's done. It beautifully sets up the tension between that carnal nature of just wanting to indulge, but then also the fact that there's something he finds truly lovable about her because it reminds him of his wife. And he's probably also having great conversation with her, but then also the struggle of like, I'm going to be making a massive mistake if I do this. It's such a great balance between these themes, and the arranging and composition amazingly complement this, especially the vocal performance. It's just such a gorgeous song. I wish you could hear it front to back uncut. Please go do that on your own. This song is amazing. Really, really good.
So
So I'd hold my breath and close my eyes
focus on the wine.
and focus on the wine. He's trying to ignore it. He's like, I can't think about this. This is way too much of a temptation. Gotta go back. But he's not leaving. There's something keeping him around. It's because it's very tempting. It's very enticing. And for him, it is partially that, again, that carnal part, but it's also that self-fulfillment part of a companion that he's missing in his current relationship that he feels like he could get out of her. Let this trembling moment pass us by. So I can say goodnight. He's like, please, just like, I don't want this temptation anymore. God, if this chalice could pass from me, so he can go home. But then, you know, like the little breathy part of like, he just collapses. He's giving in to not her charms, but basically his wants. Then on impulse,
I almost touch her face.
Okay, it's very melodramatic, I agree. But I love that line. But then, on impulse, I almost touch her face.
Before I pull back my hand.
Before I pull back my hand. Yeah, he's very poetically communicating to us what's visually happening in this story. But it's being brought to life, again, by the composition, by the arrangement, and by the performances. That is the magic that is bringing this whole story to life in here and in here. Masterfully done, in my opinion. This song is incredibly underrated.
Nervous, we laugh and she spills her wine.
I like how he also does like we get nervous, we laugh, and she spills her wine. It feels so intimate and normal. You know what I mean? Because like that would happen at a party. It's not this idealized thing. It's just very common man, matter of fact. We're in this circumstance, and these are things that happen, you know? And like the spilling of the wine of someone that you're like friends with, but there's also kind of like an attraction there is embarrassing, you know?
Both so awkward.
So awkward.
What's on
For what's on our minds. What's on your mind?
talks like you and she smells.
She talks like you, and she smells almost like you. And the smell part is like, and she smells. He gets breathier with smell because like what sound happens when you breathe? It's that gust of air. There's no pitch to it when it comes to your vocal folds. So doing the and she smells is almost like that type of sensation. Like it's really well thought out vocal performance. Even if, again, if it is very melodramatic and weird and awkward, the guy is talking about how awkward he is and how awkward the circumstance is. I think it's warranted for it to sound awkward. This is a man who very clearly has lost his confidence, both in just himself as a man, but in his relationship and some level of validation. And this encounter is almost certainly contributing to his validation, which is what makes it even more tempting, on top of the satisfaction of having a good female companion. On top of the fact that he just wants to jump her bones, he also gets the validation factor from all of that. It's a really complex, rich song with so much dynamic, in not just in the music itself, but in the headspace of the character, that is so amazingly communicated, man. I love this song. This is probably the best song they've ever made. Hands down. It's just so good.
But she's not all you even strive.
She's not all you, even strives not to be you.
Just like every sister would do.
Just like every sister would do. So he's letting it out of the bag like, oh, ooh, this doesn't feel good. This does not feel good at all. And there's a little dun 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 dun, little guy on the piano bringing that back. That's a memorable moment. That's a hook. And again, puts a little bow on that pre-chorus.
And perhaps it's the wine.
And perhaps it's the wine. And I think this is a slightly new theme. If not, I'm not sure. Okay, let's keep listening.
Or that you're in her eyes.
Or that you're in her eyes. And again, the breathy, like, take my breath away type of deal when he says eyes.
But I want her this one single time.
But I want her this one single time. It's his way of making the excuse to go through with it. Just one here.
Just this one time.
Just this one time. Like he's like keeping a secret with himself, you know. That's why he's like whispering it. And also as opposed to up here in the head voice, the brightness. It's a down low kind of dark. Just this one time. Like he knows he's about to do something not good, and the animal of him is coming out. Up here, it's kind of like I'm less confident, and like the heady part of like feeling bad for yourself. And down here is like, I'm gonna lay some pipe. I'm gonna ravage this. You know, that's the headspace. It's so beautifully communicated. Okay, in the interest of time and hopefully not getting copyright claimed, I'm gonna skip to the big vocal moment. Oh, dude, especially like after we've been through all these very intimate moments, this is like the part where you're so horny, it's so hard to control it. You know, it's just like, damn, dude. If she'd look me deep. Like, here, let's keep going. Again, have to pause for the frickin' YouTube crap. Sorry. Ugh, like you believe him when he's saying this stuff. It's not good, but does a single moment of this sound like he's celebrating it? Like, okay, newsflash, I'm Roman Catholic, I'm practicing Catholic, and yeah, you know, talking about cheating on people or being unfaithful, or I mean at this point, any sex outside of marriage is not something I want being spread around. But this is a very real thing that people go through, and he's not celebrating it. He's being extremely vulnerable and honest, and I love that. Instead of bottling it up and pretending as though these things don't exist, looking at it very starkly and how ugly some of it is and how beautiful some of it is, and being able to at least admit to yourself, I don't even know how to organize all of these thoughts and evaluate these thoughts, but they're there and they're extremely intense. That, I think, is so incredibly healthy and beautiful. And the fact that I'd say it leaves it relatively neutral as to its morality. I interpret it as not good morally. Someone would say maybe it is good morally. I would disagree with them, but that's a whole other statement. It just very nakedly bears its soul. in such a great way, in such a beautiful way. It makes you want to cry. It gives me chills when I listen to the song. It's nuts. All right. So that was Sisters by Pain of Salvation. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And you can go ahead and check out the songs you should listen to playlist in the description if you want to check out some more songs that you should listen to. All right. Love you guys. Bye.